goes. I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube. Joel Sands. I'm joined by my buddy Bobby Lugosi. Now we are here to talk about our favorite episodes, our top 5. But here's what we're going to do: we're going to do 2 episodes apiece tonight, and next week we'll be back with the rest of our list. Bobby, we're talking about that before we record. So here's what we're going to do. Bobby's going to give me the episode number of his. Now you could talk. Go ahead and talk, because what I'm going to do is mute the episode so it doesn't. But I'm going to have the video up where I can see it and listen to you as you're talking. That's what I'm doing. Sorry if I didn't explain that to you before.
Oh, it's all right.
And I'm explaining to the audience that too. So, what's your episode number first, buddy?
My first one is episode 694.
Hold on, 694. So I'm humming Christmas music because I'm watching. Okay, let's turn off the sound first. 694. Sometimes with Tubi, because that's what I'm posting this on, or sorry, having this on, not posting on, but watching this on. Sometimes it glitches, so that's no problem. I can rework that. You said 694, right?
Yeah, 694.
Okay.
I really love this idea of yours.
Thank you. I try. I try to have good ones. I won't say all my ideas are good. 694. There it is. So yeah, this episode here is has Joan Bennett, Jonathan Frid, Lewis Edmonds, Thayer David, David Selby, David Hennessy. It's directed by Lila Swift. Go ahead, as I'm watching this, Bobby, go ahead and talk about it. Because I see the Great House, I see the clock, and we're in the Great House at Collinwood.
And so right away we see Professor Stokes is performing the exorcism to get rid of the ghost of Quentin. So right away it's this episode is it's a really scary one.
Yeah.
And that's why I really like it. It's I feel like in a way the whole as I was picking number 5, I was going back and forth between the first episode and this one. And okay.
No, sorry, go ahead. Well, one thing I noticed too about this episode as I pulled it up was the lighting where Stokes is sitting.
Right, yeah.
When you said the word scary, the first thing I did that popped when you said that was the lighting. Right, it looks terrifying.
Right.
And then where I paused this at, Stokes is looking in a mirror and there's the ghost of Quentin.
Right, yeah. Dude, they are pulling off these special effects.
Yep.
They are, people because I know, sometimes, sometimes we joke about the special effects, but they are pulling them off. They're looking really good. It's, it's a really the David Selby's laugh is amazing. It's so haunting, and especially how this is Professor Stokes. This isn't, no offense, this isn't Maggie Evans or Victoria Winters. This is Professor Stokes. He's the one who is the most prepared for this. He never loses his cool, and he's scared. Professor Stokes, and when Professor Stokes is scared, you have problems, and it's amazing acting. We have Thayer David,
Yeah, and that's the funny part about that is too, all that little scared sequence there they pull is just the opening of the episode.
Yeah,
that's what's so cool. As I got it up, I paused real quick so I come back and talk to you face to face. Sorry, I was listening to you watching the episode, because you're right. The one thing I noticed too on Professor Stokes' face is the sweat. So they I don't know if he's naturally sweating or they just put some makeup on, but either way, because they have the flame effect. You were talking about the effects.
Yeah.
They have flame effects. in this episode, which I would say they're using chroma key, but there's no chroma key sweat.
Right, yeah.
The sweat is legit. It's such a great job by the makeup department.
Mm.
So
yeah, it really is like it's one of those like you. I feel like even amongst like fans, like Dark Shadows has like somewhat in the special effects department has like somewhat of a shaky reputation. But like they were but that's only because they were like under pressure to get it out every day. They were like they were just an amazing like crew. The cast and crew were like they were both amazing, and they like it really like you like in an episode like this when it's all like when despite the live on tape they were like they were rocking it. You really appreciate like how talented they were.
yeah, they were really talented. Stokes is still trapped in his room here. The flames are still going. um, yeah, you're right here. The effects are really just rocking here. And Selby's ghost is still in the mirror, and he's breaking. Stokes is breaking the mirror with the candlestick. I like it. He cracks the mirror. Doesn't completely break it, but he shatters the glass a bit. And the flames are gone. So, like, what do you think of Stokes's room here? Or they're in a room. I don't.
Yeah, I
But
feel
they,
like it's very like very atmospheric. Like I feel like the lighting is exceptionally like well done. Like you feel like this like you really feel trapped in it.
yeah, yeah, because he could not get out at all. Now he's going to the door, and here comes Roger. Um, and Roger says, "I heard laughing and crashing." The reason I'm able to know this is for the I was smart and I turned the subtitles on so I could read. But you have two veteran actors here in Lewis Edmonds and Thayer David. Thayer David, for those who don't know, and not there are Dark Shadows fans who come to this channel. Um, Thayer David did play the second Matthew Morgan, so this is not his first go around on Dark Shadows. Um, what do you think of Professor Stokes as a character?
I think he's a really like great character. Like he's I feel like I always feel like stories are like more exciting when you have someone who like understands like what's going on, like a Professor Van Helsing or a Dr. Loomis, and like in Professor Stokes, he's the one who like acquires the knowledge of the occult. So I think he's a really great character. Like it's like Barnabas has. Yeah, because Barnabas is like he's human at this point, but like Barnabas, knows like the past, but Professor Stokes understands all these things. So I feel like he really brings like a lot of dynamics to like storylines, and Third David's so great. Like I believe, what isn't he the actor who played like the most roles on the show?
I believe so. Yeah, he played. Let's see, he played Matthew Morgan. He played Ben Stokes. He
It's
played.
like him or Nancy Barrett.
It may have been Nancy, because yeah, Nancy. Oh my God, Nancy had a lot. I'm gonna say it was Nancy, but to get through Third David, it's he plays Matthew Morgan, then he plays Ben Stokes, then he plays Professor Stokes, Sandor, he plays Count Andreas Patope, he plays another version of Stokes in Parallel Time. Um, what else does he play? I know he plays some. I'm sure he plays something else. Oh, he plays Ben. He plays older version of Ben Stokes and then the Parallel Time version of Ben Stokes. But Nancy Barrett, holy shit. Carolyn, she played what was it, the family member in the past that always Millicent. Millicent, yeah, I always forget her name. Millicent.
Tough cookie.
Yeah, right. Millicent. Um, she She plays Pansy Faye. She plays Letitia Faye. She plays uh, a Stokes daughter, uh, that's 5 characters already. Jesus. Then she plays I want to say it's Melissa or something in Parallel Time or something. Um, so that's 6. So yeah, I do think it was Nancy Barrett who played the most characters. I think you're right. Now we're here. I have it paused. We're here in the drawing room. We have Jen Bennett hugging David. We're gonna. I think we're gonna see Quentin's ghost here in the drawing room too. Um, David Collins is in what looks like a robe, and he has a shirt underneath, and he's talking to Elizabeth. Um, Obviously, David and Amy are battling possession, or they're basically going to be possessed by Quentin's ghost. That's what's going to cause Barnabas to go back in the past. How scary was Quentin's ghost, Bobby?
I feel like he's really scary. Like he is like it's such a haunting like a presence. Like his facial expressions.
Oh yeah.
I love the how the signature music, the themes, Shadows of the Night, and what I like about it is that he like sort of like the shark in Jaws. There's like different ways of telling you he's there.
Yeah.
So it really he's like I it's just like a great like another great Dark Shadows villain. Like a real like really really well done.
When we end this, I got to ask you something, but
Sure.
and we're not there yet, but we're a long ways off of that. But I do got to ask you something after we stop recording. So David is talking to uh, Elizabeth here, and it's always I've always enjoyed the character interactions because they're always these good quality moments, but they're also sometimes they're arguing with each other or disagreeing with each other. Here, man, this is when you watch Dark Shadows from the beginning. This seems like such a different David Collins than what we got so long ago, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That's one of the things like I really like about this episode is like I mean like we don't have Carolyn or Victoria Winters in it, but like we have like
yeah,
most of like that opening like cast in it. Like of
yeah,
like you know, and like I like how like the first episode like you hear the Collinwood is like a haunted house, and now it's like now it's like really happening. Like it's you know like it's like the ghost is taking over.
yeah. So the drawing room doors here are shut. Quentin's ghost is going to make an appearance, and yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
David David Selby's left eyebrow is raised like he's the Rock. Um, really good facial expression here. It's crazy because he's standing in the drawing room. The doors are shut. David is screaming help. Then Quentin points his finger and silences his voice. Very. Here, I'm going to pause this because I got to ask you this. Um, is this really Quentin? You think?
Oh, that's right. Is the Compatoffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. Yeah, very well. It's so you know it's so hard to say because like Quentin wasn't like always like a very nice like person either. You know, like
Yeah. It's weird. What's weird about it is most of all, we know Quentin. There are things we're going to learn about Quentin in 1897. One, he does study the occult, so he does know certain things. But the things we see Quentin do in 1897 don't add up to the ghost that we saw, like coming from. It's like that doesn't really fit with the ghost. Like the look fits, but I mean,
yeah,
ghosts. It's really strange because when with David Selby, he's just charming, charismatic, like he can get any woman in his bed, literally. um, to put it not well, there's no way to put it nicely. Quentin is a male whore. Okay, that's straight up. Um, he is. But what did you think of the difference between the ghost and the actual man?
Now, definitely the ghost is more like sinister. Like Quentin Collins is more greedy.
Yeah.
Like he's like, and he'll do a lot to get what he wants. Whereas the ghost is like, he's like sort of like evil for evil's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, the ghost is evil. I never get to your point. I never get that Quentin, the man, is ever as evil as the ghost. Like,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
They're two completely different things.
Yeah.
And I do, but what I love here with the episode you picked is just how great you touched upon this. David Selby's facial features are, and the lighting is in the room that Professor Stokes was in. That's what there. You have Professor Stokes, uh, Elizabeth, and Roger. They're leaving the room, and here we see David Hennessy, David Collins, and David. uh, oh my god. Yeah, David Selby, and then Quentin's ghost disappears. David opens the drawing room and runs out. Goes toward the house door, opens it, and runs out the house. So there is a chase pursuing. Um, it's. I'm with you. The lighting in this episode is really nice. Um, what did you think? Because we're gonna get yeah, Jonathan Fred is in a episode, so we're going to get Barnabas. It's on a commercial break now, so that takes a while. But we're going to get Barnabas and David when it comes back in interaction. What did you think about? Because Barnabas is not a vampire at this point in time. He was sort of in the one thing I remember most about like these sort of episodes. Barnabas was put in charge of Collinwood a bit, and like because Roger went away, Elizabeth went somewhere or something, and he's basically paying babysitter, and everything goes to shit. um, so so should we trust Barnabas to watch anyone's kids ever?
I mean, he has like problems like greater than the average like person though.
This isn't Laurie Strode on Halloween night. She's only got to combat a serial killer. Like,
Oh yeah.
like Jonathan Fred has to deal with a ghost. He has to deal with the supernatural. He has to do with a babysitter Maggie who's like losing control of the kids. Like after Victoria turned everything around for David, it's like Victoria leaves, Barnabas babysits, and everything's gone right. Is gone
Don't
right.
forget, now he has to deal with Mrs. Johnson's boiled dinners.
Yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh my god, yeah, yeah. So we're back here, and yeah, David is talking to Barnabas here, and he's describing Quentin here. What did you think of this scene here, where David is going toward Barnabas? And I remember a time how scared David was of Barnabas.
I felt like they were like really well together.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely.
and I felt like you got some Jonathan Fridge warmth in this scene, which is something you really never like got you didn't have in the previous like interactions like that.
Yeah.
Like with the so I felt like it was they really did well together.
Yeah, when David started, it's a far they the two characters have come very far.
They have.
Um, to your point, yeah, David was. I mean, here's a kid who tried to murder his dad by removing the bleeder valve from his car. Who told Victoria Winters, "You're gonna die here," And finally, she gets him turned around, and here, these ghosts start popping up left and right. Quentin's ghost. Now she's not around for Quentin's ghost, so who knows how Vicky would have dealt with that situation. But Barnabas, he was he was genuinely the people, but there was always that underlying tone of, I remember when David went missing because of him, and he finds David, and he had no. If somebody hadn't come along, Barnabas had no intention of taking him back to Collinwood. He was going to take him somewhere and like interrogate him or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember he like tortured David. He tried to drive him mentally insane. Good times. Now we have a ghost of Quentin here, who's who's doing a lot worse than what even Barnabas did. It's sort of making Barnabas look tame a bit, which I like, because okay, he's not a vampire, he's a flesh and blood mortal. Um, you're right. You do see Jonathan and Fred's character's warmth here. Roger is he's sort of like questioning all this. Um, he thinks it's. I get the feeling he thinks the professor and Barnabas are just full of it. like, you get that sort of cuff from Roger, who's just like, look, I'm his dad. I do. I like how the old house looks here in this episode too. We see because it doesn't, though it's like it's candlelit. It doesn't, and they are like using some studio lights. It looks good. The walls really stand out. This is a color. This is episodes in color. It's not in black and white. I mean, I love the black and white episodes, and I love how we see you see the candles going in the background. They always do a really good job of not just with the characters, like they do a good job with the characters, but painting a story with the sets themselves. And that was Cy Thomas off, obviously. We see some thunder outside here. What did you think of the sets, Bobby?
Yeah, I think the sets are great. Like like the series, like when you really watch it, it's like a very like, especially for like for a daytime soap opera, like it was a visual storytelling.
Yeah.
In the way that like other shows weren't doing, like the sets really like told the story, like they developed like their atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah, they do a really great job with them too here. We're still at the old house. David is going toward the window. He's looking toward the window, and he turns back, and he's still talking to Barnabas here. And there's Quentin. There's a ghost of Quentin. I love how they use like this orange lighting to reveal him. There's this orange looking lighting on his face, and it looks so eerie. And then they cut it, and he's gone. That was a really cool. You talked about the effects and the lighting in this. Really superb job. Really, really good job. Uh, let's see. Barnabas is standing up. He's watching David run away. And they're cutting back to Collinwood, and it's Elizabeth talking to Roger. There, David is there too, Professor Stokes. It's really, really interesting. What's your favorite moment in this episode?
I like when like after they leave the house and you hear him like the music Clinton seemed like playing throughout, and you hear him like laughing.
Yeah.
Like like I feel like that's one of the show's like scariest moments.
Yeah, when we get to oh, let me see if I let me see if you can you hear that?
No,
You can't hear that?
no, like I could hear a sound, but like I couldn't like identify it.
All right, yeah, it's I turned the sound on real quick to see if you could hear it. Sorry. Yeah, this is the episode where you're right. They leave Collinwood. Quentin chases them out the house, and Roger yells, "We'll be back. We'll be like it's really good. Really,
Yeah.
really good episode. What it overall for this episode? What's you talked about the lighting? You talked about Quentin's ghost. Really good stuff. What did now Maggie's not in this episode. What did you think of her as governess?
Um, like I know, like from like a character perspective, it didn't like make that much sense. But like I
Yeah,
feel like she's you definitely trust Maggie Evans. You know she's a good person. Even though like she may not have like the professional qualifications, like you like her as a character and you just kind of go with it.
yeah. So that's episode. Make sure I get it right too. Don't mess this up. 694 that Bobby picked. Great episode. Really love that episode. Uh, my pick is episode 1117. And this, yeah, make sure I gotta make sure I got that my pick right here. I gotta check my Facebook so I don't mess this up because my phone's not loading for whatever reason. God damn it. Uh, I wrote down my picks earlier because I'm old. Um, really, I feel old anyway. Yeah, there we go. I got it right. All right. Um, so that is the episode. It is 1840. They go back to 1840. Julia goes back first, and this is the episode where Julia has taken Roxanne Drew to the old house to lure Barnabas there. And that's what she's waiting for is Barnabas. And so Barnabas shows up, and this is where the Barnabas that she let out thinking it would be the Barnabas from the future, but no, it's Barnabas from the past who doesn't know Dr. Julia Hoffman. Why would he? And Jonathan Fritz Barnabas from the future is trying to get back because he sees Julia Hoffman's tombstone. He's thinking, "Oh God, I can't let that happen." And this is a lot of things go down in this episode, which is why I love it so much. It introduces my favorite. I'll get to who it introduces, but you have Jonathan Fritz as Barnabas grabs Julia to bite her. You have Jonathan Fritz Barnabas, the I Ching works. He gets in and he's like holding his head. He's like, and Julia grabs the cross and he's like, Julia, it's me. He's there trying to convince her that it's now her, that it's him. Sorry, and I really love that because he does tell her things from the future that only Barnabas would know, right? So, and finally she goes, okay. And they hug, they have this little embrace. And he sees Roxanne where his other version bit Roxanne. And so Julia tells him what she told the people at Collinwood, that she was his sister. She's going by Julia Collins in the past, which I love. And so she says, I'll hypnotize Roxanne. And if anybody's familiar with that, Julia hypnotized Maggie Evans. And we all know how that turned out. Not so good in the long run, but, well, she eventually remembered everything. So she's going to hypnotize Roxanne. Barnabas is going to go to the great house to introduce himself, like he hasn't done that before. And he has. I love how this There's one of my favorite characters ever that John Carlin played was Desmond Collins. I love this character John Carlin plays. It is so criminally underrated. He brings this glass box with his head inside, and it is the head of Judah Zachary. So we get a new character introduced in Desmond Collins, played by John Carlin. And I love how he hides in the foyer where because not Elizabeth. I forget who Joan plays in this, but it's his mother.
Laura.
And she closes the door, and he's standing there. He scares her. She jumps. She goes, "Oh!" And I love Joan's like voice in this too. Joan's voice is so different than that of Elizabeth because she's not playing Elizabeth. She's playing a different character. And it's their interaction is so mother-son interaction. It's criminally good. The thing I love most, the head of Judah Zachary, this headless, this thing that is completely encased in glass. It is a present for Quentin Collins in 1840. But here's the thing: when John Carlin's character comes back with this, he doesn't know. Everybody thinks Quentin has died at sea with his son. So now you literally have John Carlin's character finding out from his mother that Quentin's gone, and you see a lot of mourning in this episode, which I love from a lot of different characters. Everybody delivers in this episode, and what really steals it away ultimately is when Barnabas does show, not Barnabas showing up. Oh no. When Julia is trying to hypnotize Roxanne at the old house, she hears this sound in the old house because she's by herself. She's like, "Is anybody down there?" I'm thinking, lady, if you just lock the door and not worry about it, it's fine. You're on the second freaking floor of an old house. You're gonna hear some creaks. But this gives obviously Roxanne a chance to escape. I mean, that's why they wrote that sequence. I love the music and the sound effects in this episode too. The way they do to scare Julia out of the room. Not that she's scared, but she's checking on what those sounds were. It's like, who cares? Like, you've heard worse. By this point, your Dark Shadows history as a character, because she has. I mean, she has. So she gets to the great house, and Barnabas, greets her and stuff because he says about his sister to them, and as they already know about her, except for John Carlin's character because he wasn't around. And Barnabas Julia's like, "Barnabas, Roxanne escaped. Did the hypnotism work?" "I don't know, but we got to go in the drawing room before they suspect anything." They're whispering to each other. So they go in there, and the door opens, and who walks in? Frickin' Roxanne. And man, you talk about Diana Woodry stealing this episode. She does. That and the head of Judah Zachary. How John Carlin is so happy to give this present to Quentin. But then when Quentin's dead, yeah, he's sad. But then when he realizes, oh, I'll just keep it, he's all fine with it. I'm thinking, are you touched? I love me some Desmond Collins, but it's funny how he plays that character. It's really cool, and I like how that Barnabas gets off the hook here in this episode. So the hypnotism has appeared to work because they say she only remembers that somebody took her. She doesn't know who, and Barnabas knows this, but she wants to see Barnabas. So really, really fun episode. What's your next one? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
My next one would be I love that episode that you're talking about. My next one would be episode 425.
425. 425.
425. Josette takes a nosedive.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, it was written in the history book.
That's what I love about it. I love like how it's like it's all been like so much has been building up to this moment.
This is directed by John Sedgwick. We get Jonathan Frid, Grayson Hall, Catherine Lee Scott, Laura Parker, Thera David, and Dan Morgan in this episode. Really, really interesting. We see the full moon. This is Josette doesn't get a score for a cannonball, but that's for sure in this episode. I'll tell you that right now. I've seen this one. This is a great episode. Talk to me about the legend of Josette itself. What did you think about it?
I love it. It's such a great from the early episodes. It's such a great ghost story. Yeah. You know, and then the ghost of Josette becomes an important part of the series, and then you have that episode where Barnabas gives the famous monologue, the kind of establishing what happened, where Josette's lover, which was Barnabas, was chasing her, and then she went to the edge of Widow's Hill and jumped off because she didn't want to have life with him. It's such a tragic story, and then to actually see it played out, it's it's honestly it's amazing to see it like play out, like fun, like played out at last.
Yeah, and what's really cool about this is as I'm watching it, I'm gonna get through some of it because it's just really this episode is all Barnabas and Ben Stokes. A lot of it with the disagreeing, Barnabas choking Ben Stokes, choking the shit out of Ben Stokes. It's nice to see. It's nice to see angry Barnabas. It's like Bruce. It's like seeing Bruce Banner, and they say, "Talk to Banner. Don't you need to get angry?" No, I'm always angry. That's Barnabas. I'm always angry. What do you think of Ben Stokes and Barnabas's relationship, Bobby?
I love it, like because like when Barnabas like first becomes a vampire, like in 1795, I feel like he's at his most aggressive because like he's like kind of like he's new, he's like young, you know, like, and I love like how he just takes out on Ben Stokes. And they're both such great actors too. Like they're really like those are wonderful scenes.
The real cool, we get some really cool effects in this too. It's nothing large, but we're going to get the vampire teeth a bit here, but we all because that's what Angelique shows Maggie, or no, yeah, Maggie, Josette. But what we do see in this is Angelique's floating ghostly head, and Laura Parker talking smack. It's Angelique. It's like she's letting them know. She's letting Ben know. Yeah. She's gonna die. Basically, what did you think of the Angelique's floating head?
I like it. I feel like it's like, you know, I like those like kind of trippy like 1960s 1970s like special effects like kind of stuff. Like I think it's like a cool ambiance. So like I like how they do it, and I like how it's like they find like creative ways to show Angelique, how it's like the floating head, the voice, just hearing the laugh. Like I feel like, you know, You like how we were just talking about how like in the Quentin like episode how like they use like the music they show him
Yeah.
laughing. It's like I love how there's like multiple ways to suggest her presence.
I forget where I heard this from, whether I read it or heard it. Laura Parker, the late Laura Parker, had said that they never heard the music cues, like they never heard the music, so they didn't know if or when it was playing. I think that so makes it even more special because they always had this music why a character might be talking, and it would start off real low and then sometimes go real tense. It was so criminally good. What did you think of Bob Cobert's score of DS?
I love it. I love how it's so signature.
Yeah,
There's really like no, I mean, there's no other music like it. It's just like perfect for that world. And it's so and this incredible to think that like they didn't know what it was because it's just like it goes so per for music cues that were like pre-written. It always and just like kind of plugged in. It always matches so perfectly to like like to the dialogue and to the like emotion of the scene.
absolutely. Yeah, I love how Natalie Dupre, Natalie Dupre, Aunt Natalie, the worst Josette babysitter ever. Um, she really is. She really is. She's not that great, but I do love Grayson's character here.
I did
Uh,
too. I did
it's
too.
it's far different than Julia Hoffman. What did you think? What did you think of? Uh, well, sorry we didn't touch on this the last episode you picked. Those the character wasn't in there, but not both Natalie Dupre and Magda. What did you think of those characters?
I thought they were really great. I you really see like how Grayson how versatile Grayson Hall is. Countess Dupre, it's she's like she's like a funny character, but there's also a lot of warmth to her character that we hadn't at that point we hadn't really seen so much with Julia Hoffman, and then Magda is amazing too. And like very like and very again like has like shows her great comic timing shows a lot of different sides of her. Like I feel, yeah, I feel like her characters are really great. Pardon me.
Sorry, I forgot to turn my mic back on like a dingus. Because I'm watching the episode here, and the one thing I went to is where Josette's at Widow's Hill, and Barnabas is Barnabas is going to watch her fall eventually. But I love how they're setting this in such a slow motion pace where it's not so slow it bores you. It's you see that Catherine Lee Scott does not get enough credit for selling the terror prior to the jump. What do you think, Bobby?
Oh, I agree. Like it's you know it's such a terrifying moment because you're scared for her and and how deeply like she's feeling it is why you're feeling it deeply.
Yeah. And here you see she's asked, "Where are you? Where are you?" She keeps hearing these sounds, and then Angelique, who shows her what she's going to look like. You see the. I love how this lighting looks, and for those who aren't at my computer screen, you see the long dark hair of Catherine Lee Scott. You see like the green looking skin. She looks so undead, and that's how she's supposed to look. You s- Not here. Give me a minute, buddy. It's really, really good. What do you, I gotta ask you this to see this come to life, because Victoria does try to prevent this. Because there is a lot of heartbreaking things that happen in Dark Shadows. Like throughout the series, there's some heartbreaking moments. It's like, oh shit, that's sad. Um, where does this rank, you think?
This is definitely one of the biggest.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge for sure. It's a great.
Yeah.
You picked two really great episodes, really great
Well,
ones.
thank you.
And here's to give my. I gotta look. God, I'm old. Age, age. That's what it is. Yeah, there's a couple here. So I'm gonna go episode 1065. Now, and the reason for I give this 1995 is my favorite arc. I call it the 9 episodes of terror, and that's what 1995 is. It's 9 episodes long, and that's it. It's one of the shortest arcs in all of Dark Shadows. But for it's not its length that's impressive. It's its storytelling. The set they destroy. I would have loved to have seen Cy Thomasoff's face when they destroyed Colin. When they showed how to destroy Collinwood. Either Cy Thomasoff participated in that and enjoyed the hell out of it, or he was in a state of shock. One or two. I don't know which, but I could give me 1 minute, but I could only imagine. I'll just say this: Carolyn is mad in the whole arc for the most of it until you do get a broken Professor Stokes in the episode, but you also get Julie and Barnabas working as a cohesive unit before ultimately Judah Zachary is going to turn her against him eventually. Not in this episode, but eventually in that arc. In this episode, they're both Barnabas is convincing Professor Stokes to get information out of Carolyn that and Stokes does say if anybody knows what happened to Collinwood or knows what it's in Carolyn's head, but Carolyn is mad. So you have what you really have is you have Stokes trying to convince Carolyn to do the right thing, which I like, even though you see how the older Stokes looks so worn down by his attempt. What, buddy? Give me 1 minute. I'm almost done. And I'll just say this about this. When you go back and watch these episodes we picked, remember this about this episode. The fact that when Quentin shows up in this episode, he tries to stab his own portrait. David Selby is not in the biggest part of that episode, but he steals it from everybody. I mean, he came in with a knife trying to stab his own portrait. Yes, Quentin was in a mental institution, and David Selby portrays that better than any Halloween film ever could. Really, really well done. So it's a great episode. I got to get off here and tend to my kids. But next, before we go, Bobby, I do want to ask you this. Can we do this next Saturday? Our episodes.
Next week, yeah, this is great.
Now next Friday, what I'm doing is John Carpenter's original Mortal Classic Halloween at 10:30. Would you like to join us, sir?
Yes, I would.
It's going to be a party like nothing.
Oh my gosh, yes, I would. I'd love to.
We got a lot of people doing that with us. So it's me, Susie, you, Don Schmidt, Mark Gilman, and Daniel Culver. We got 6 people doing this thing now. It's going to be epic.
Oh, cool. I can't wait.
Yeah, 10:30 Friday on the 19th. Bobby, man, thank you so much. Link to Lugosi Theater is going to be in the description box. Go give Bobby a sub. Go hit him up on Facebook. He'll talk to you. He's a cool guy. Bobby, thank you so much, man.
I'm happy to.
See you, bye.
All right, have a good one.